What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Switch Podcast. I am your host, Q1 Humphreys, and you see the title of the video, man. No, this is not a Beyonce country album reaction video. No, we're talking about them hoopers in Texas. We're talking about the Houston Rockets, and we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks. Now, they say everything's bigger in Texas. And up until last night, that was true with the NBA's two longest winning streaks were found in Texas, with the Houston Rockets being on an 11-game win streak and the Dallas Mavericks being on a 6-game winning streak. But them two teams faced off last night, and somebody had to lose. The Dallas Mavericks ended up taking home the victory with a 125-107 win. Luka Doncic went crazy, finishing with 47 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, while also hitting 9 threes. Kyrie also did his thing, adding in 24 points and 7 assists on the game. But before I talk about the Mavericks, I want to talk about the Houston Rockets. I know I'm a little bit late to the Houston Rockets train. They were on an 11-game win streak. They've been playing very, very great basketball, but I didn't want to jump the gun and start talking about them. I wanted to see if it was real. You know what I'm saying? We often see teams kind of have good little moments, and then they lose a game and they go back to normal. But I wanted to see if they were going to eventually tie the Warriors for that last spot in the play-in. And, last night's loss combined with Golden State's win against the San Antonio Spurs makes them 2 games back, which means they with only a couple games left, they are probably not going to catch the Warriors. The Warriors, the Warriors also have the tiebreaker over the Rockets, so the Rockets will have to have a better record than them. And with only a couple games left, it is not likely that is going to happen. But I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the future of the Houston Rockets and how these past 11 or 12 games, this last stretch for them, is something that the front office has kind of been waiting to see. And I want to start off with Jalen Green. People call him family to feed Jalen. People call him father to be Jalen Green, but I'm just going to call him Jalen Green. Over these past 11, 12 games, he's been averaging 29.8 points per game along with 7.5 rebounds. And to be honest with you, to be 100% with you, this is kind of what I expected Jalen Green to be. I'm not saying that I know all things come basketball, but his peak is that of a dynamic, explosive scorer. We saw this in high school. We saw it while he played with the G League Ignite. He's a 6'5" guy who has out of this world bounce, out the gym bounce. He can shoot the ball at a really good level. But it was really just, I would say it was just his head. Young guys coming in. They played a lot of iso ball. There really was no veteran on the team. I think the coach that drafted Jalen Green was Steven Silas, who in his own right really maybe was not the most qualified coach. But they go out and get Ime Udoka this summer. They go and pick up a Fred VanVleet, a point guard, something that Jalen Green has never had over the course of his first couple of seasons. He's never had a point guard. And Fred VanVleet is getting Jalen Green the ball in his spots. And another big piece of the future is Alperen Sengun. Alperen Sengun was having a spectacular season up until he injured his knee, which ironically started this little run by the Rockets and by Jalen Green. As soon as their top guy went down, everybody else picked the play up, especially Jalen Green. And I would just be really excited with how the Rockets are looking, with how they're going to look going into next season. We could potentially see them make a big jump, similar to what we've seen with OKC this season. Maybe not being top 3 in the West, top 2, top 1. I think OKC's first in the West right now. Maybe not a jump to that extent, but definitely a jump to where they can compete for a playoff spot. We saw this with the Kings last season, them jumping up to getting in the playoffs. And I think with Ime Udoka getting another offseason, getting another full season with this cast of players, and these guys just getting older and more mature, they're going to be better next year, obviously. But I think right now with the Rockets, they're currently 30-36 on the season. Like I said earlier, they're 2 games back Golden State. There's only 8 games left in the regular season. So they're going to have to outplay. They're going to have to be 3 games better than the Warriors to take that last play-in spot. But if I'm the front office, if I'm Ime Udoka, I mean, the playoffs would be cool. I would take a playoff appearance, or a play-in appearance. I'm sorry, but why not? If we don't get that last 10 spot, we can just, we're gonna get a good draft pick. We're gonna be in the lottery. We're gonna be in the mix to get one of them a potential top 10, top 5 if the luck is on your side, top 5 pick, and that may be what's best for the Rockets. Excuse me. Moving on from the Rockets, I want to talk about them Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have arguably been, between them and Denver, the best team in the NBA since the All-Star break. Dallas is, over their last 25 games, they have a 19-6 record. On the season, they have a 45-29 record. They're on a 7-game win streak. They are actually in 5th seed. They're tied with the Pelicans, but since they're on the tiebreaker, they currently have the 5th seed in the Western Conference, which last week was not the case. Last week, they were fighting over getting out of the play-in. And they had 2 big games against the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, and they were able to come out with wins. The first match between them two, they blew the Kings out. Blew the Kings at the gym. Kyrie went crazy. The other guys went crazy. Luka did not have the best game, but he did his thing. And in the second game, they were down big, fought back. Kyrie had a crazy fourth quarter, 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they ended up winning that game to really solidify themselves as that 6th seed. But with the Pelicans losing games, with Brandon Ingram's injury, and the Mavericks continuing to win, they've taken over the 5th seed, which is going to be big, depending on how the Nuggets finish the season. Because the Denver Nuggets are now 2nd in the West. And that's a team that nobody wants to face. Nobody wants to see the Nuggets too early. But with the way it is right now, the Dallas would play the Clippers in the first round and OKC in the second round if OKC gets out of the 1-8 matchup. But I want to talk about the Mavericks, man. I think the big thing with the Mavericks was really just health. They haven't been healthy for majority of this season. And they're finally getting healthy. Kyrie's played the last 25 games. He missed a lot earlier this season. He played the last 25 games. He's averaging 25, 5-5 over them last 25 games. Luke is going crazy. He's averaging 32, 10, and 10 over the last 25 games. And the team looks really good. But if you did not see my trade deadline video, it is important. I mean, you can go watch it. I say you go check it out because I called this back then. The trades that Dallas made, they went and pick up Daniel Gafford. They go and pick up P.J. Washington. They get more size, which is what they desperately needed. They needed more size in the interior, not just for defensively, but also offensively. Daniel Gafford has been really, really good in a Mavericks uniform. He recently almost broke the record for most made field goal attempts in a row. He's an ultimate lob threat. He's the ultimate role guy in the pick and roll with Luka and Kyrie. P.J. Washington is great on the inside too, but he also can step out and hit a couple threes as we've seen these past couple games. But man, the Mavericks are scary. They're scary. They have size. The others are hooping. Kyrie and Luka, people said they wouldn't fit. They're fitting just fine. Another big thing with the Mavericks is, it's not that important, but I want to speak on Luka Doncic and his MVP status. Luka Doncic. If you have not seen, I'm also gonna put that link in the description. Me and my boy 24 Hour Sports, we talked about the MVP race and we spoke on Luka Doncic. We spoke on how I believe Luka deserved the MVP this season. That was until Jokic, I guess, shut me up and went crazy over the past couple weeks. But the big thing with Luka and his MVP status was his team's not good enough. His team's not winning enough games. They're the 5th seed now. We've seen players with lower seedings win MVP. Why can't Luka do it now? Luka's averaging almost a 30-point triple-double, you know what I'm saying? His team's winning games. I don't see no reason why Luka can't win MVP, why he won't win MVP. He should at least be second in voting behind Jokic, in my opinion, if he don't win it himself. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take it easy. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We out of here. Yeti!